Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Growth Studio podcast. I'm delighted to be here with three special guests, Samhita, Arnab, and Chinhita, and I'll quickly introduce them. So they are from the HR fraternity. We together as a team, we will talk a lot about students' employability. So as you know, the journey of a student when they transit from or navigate from education to employment is quite a journey. So that journey requires a lot of preparation by the student. And through this podcast, especially mentoring podcast, we ensure that we provide them, the students, with tips and also the perspective of the industry. So with that, welcome everybody. Welcome Samhita, Arnab, and Chinhita. We'll do a quick intro about each one of you and then we'll pick it up, right? So if you could share, we'll start with Samhita. And if you could please share your bit of a background and experience and what inspires you to be here today. Right? Over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me, Growth Studios, in this podcast. It's really an honor to share the space with such industry leaders like Chinhita and Arnab, and definitely you, Prithwish. So I am Samhita, as you said, and I started my career 18 years back as a HR. So what inspired me to be here today? Because, when I started my career 18 years back, I didn't know anything. I just wanted to work in HR because the term HR gave me that feeling that, yes, something to do with the human resources. And in this journey, 18 years of which I have learned and I have experienced that most of the time, people like me who do not have any idea but they want to start, and maybe they go for, certifications or degrees, but they are not guided thoroughly, and sometimes they lose their track. So when I heard about your platform, so I thought of coming and to share some of my experience and what we have gathered so far.
Sure. Wonderful. I think it's a great cause. So the journey that you went through yourself, you were searching for answers and you figured out, okay, why not share some experiences with them so that the journey becomes enjoyable for them, right? Thank you. That's a great cause, Samhita. Thank you for joining. Right. All right, so we'll go to Arnab. Arnab, if you could, introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning, all. It's nice to be here in this platform, and this is first time I am here in podcast. I have also started my journey 17 years back. That time it was more into traditional. Now there are much involvement as well as and revolutionary changes. So it's all about the experiences I have gathered in these 17 years of tenure. I would like to share the experiences to the freshers so that they will gather some knowledge to overcome these hurdles.
Right. Wonderful. I think, thank you for joining in, Arnab. I think experiences always count. And I'm so happy that you've, joined here to kind of share your experiences. I'm sure that has been, there's a lot of journey that you've had. Thank you so much for joining. Right. All right. Chinhita, over to you.
Very good morning, everyone. Thank you, Growth Studio and Mr. Prithwish Bose for inviting me to this podcast. And I look forward to hearing a lot of insights and interactions with Samhita and Arnab. So for me, when the want gets stronger, the how gets easier. So I'm Chinhita Bose, a people-first leader with over 16 years of HR expertise across diverse industries in cultural settings. And my HR journey has been rooted primarily in building people-first cultures, driving engagement, and aligning HR strategy with business goals in both traditional as well as remote-first companies. And I feel proud to be a certified GMI Gold Mentor. It is a platform where students from unresourceful communities are there, and I help them to land in their first career job. So this is one of the inspirations which caught my attention, and I want to be part of this podcast so that I can share some of my insights, some of my stories. And also I'm a passionate advocate for women's leadership, and I'm an active member of WICI, that is Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Iron Lady, which helps me to reinforce my commitment to meaningful change in the DEIB landscape. And outside of work, I do enjoy practicing mixed martial arts. I'm a 5th Kyokushin karate belt, and I love swimming. And my hobbies include collecting key rings and postcards. That's all about me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Chinhita. Thank you for joining. I think what a diverse experiences that you just brought through. Not only are you anchoring a diverse topic in your career, the kind of association that you have for the women association that you have. But I think you're very diverse in experience also. So very happy. One other thing that you mentioned, I really like that, is also about currently you're already a mentor with one of the institutions, and got into you to say, okay, let me share. And we all have a voice, and I'm so happy that you have decided to carry your voice through this platform, Mentor Link platform, Growth Studio platform. Our idea is to really carry all of your voices, right, to the students. So thanks for joining in, everybody. And by the way, just because you mentioned that a mentor is, you're already associated with being a mentor, all of you are in a way mentor, right? All of us, we mentor people, mentor students, mentor our family members. So you're a mentor. So anybody who comes as a speaker in this platform is not just a speaker for us. In my mind and in others, in our team's mind, all of you are actually mentors. So I'm going to be looking up to you, not just now in the podcast, but ever after, as long as you wish to carry your voice to the audience and share your insights of success and, of course, learnings from your life. So happy to have all of you. Great. So thanks everybody for joining in. And today, I think we have a very, very interesting perspectives that I'm going to draw from each one of you. What's on the agenda or the menu that we have today? Of course, we have topics related to branding. So students' personal branding is something which is very, very important. And every student is making an impression, trying to make an impression on branding. So we thought, why not pick up that as one of the topics. The second important aspect that we're going to talk about is also about recruitment practices. So anything, which is an innovative practice, while there are traditional methods of recruitment that we have already seen, and then there are also, the modern methods, cutting edge methods, contemporary methods that we know. So we'll talk about modern recruitment practices. We will move forward and talk about the different skills and competencies that recruiters really look for. It is absolutely essential for the students to kind of figure out what is it that the recruiters are looking for, so that they get an opportunity to practice much, much before the recruiter actually meets them at the campus, right? So that's another topic that we'll pick up. So there's a theoretical learning that they get from their campuses, from the institutes. But how about the practical perspective? How can we make it stronger? So that is something that we're going to pick up in our conversation. There is an important aspect of a company participating in this activity. It's not the bridging of the gap of employability can only happen with active participation from all parties. So how we'll pick that up as a topic to figure out, okay, what can we do to ensure that the industry also participates in the process of skilling and upskilling. And of course, the final one, which is to do with about mentoring. We'll talk about mentoring. How can mentoring be done? And how to search for a mentor, some tips that if you can leave with the students and the audience in general, that'll be great. All right. So with that, let me ask you, go to Samhita to start with, right? So Samhita, one of the aspects, like I said, is about personal branding, right? What is in your mind? How can a student really approach personal branding? Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. So personal branding is something where you portray or you showcase your brand or the skills you have. So when we started our career again, 18 years back, it was like preparing your resume or CV and submitting it into the interview of the companies. But nowadays, it's mostly online and people are there in social media. So the access of information and the profiling is much more needed. So the branding comes here, like it's not enough if you are an MBA or a BTech or even a graduate. You need to profile yourself properly and present to your employers. So, suppose when we apply for a job nowadays, they ask for your professional, like your LinkedIn access or your any professional profile link. Share it. It is mandatory nowadays. Like most of 90% or 99% application, you will find that they will ask for the link, even if you are submitting your resume. So maintaining your personal branding through that profile, it has become necessary right now. And how we can do that? So first of all, you have to be aware of your profile. Being a student or an entry level or a fresher, you have to be very, very specific about what you are trying to do and what impression you are trying to give to your prospect employers or the industry you are in. And then I feel that the institutes should also come up helping the students or who are preparing for their placements or their job to how to create a online or personal branding profile for them, like for example, LinkedIn. I guess while giving them a training or a preparation for how to prepare your resume, they should also come up with some soft skill or some training process where they will help them to prepare a professional LinkedIn profile and how to maintain other profiles as well. So that's gonna help them much. And also, and only not, I don't feel that if you are making your profile, it's enough again. So it also depends that when the employer gets your link, that link you are submitting while you're applying for the job or when you're doing your profiling or their personal branding, they go to your link and they check it, that what are your likes and your dislikes. So what does that mean? That whom you are following, what kind of post you are liking, what kind of post you are reposting. So that is falls under personal branding. So, and it also should be very specific. You should also, but from the beginning, you should believe in quality over quantity. Having 5,000 people in your list doesn't matter, that whom you are keeping in the list and whom you are following. Being a fresher, whom you are following, what is your ideology and what are your, attributes, what are you thinking? So these are personal branding. And the more you are conscious about it, the more you are doing it and the more you are focused on it, that makes a perfect balance of personal branding it with your
Great points. I think you mentioned a couple of key points, and I want to just summarize and highlight them so that people understand from that perspective. You mentioned about the fact that it is essential. First of all, this is not something which is a wishful thinking that you need to do. So you mentioned about it. You mentioned that be very specific in your approach towards personal branding. So personal branding is not just about putting it up on the LinkedIn or having a profile photo and things like that. It's about, be very specific what message you want to communicate to the recruiter. That came out really profound. And also, you mentioned also the way where institute can participate by providing them the opportunity of getting them to, know a little more about LinkedIn profile, because that itself, and I like the point you said, that itself is a skill. How do I write all the, how do I write all the points in the profile? What are the different fields? How would that fields add value?
Starting from the cover photo, sorry to jumping in, but starting from the cover photo till the profile photos, DPs, and your about me and the profile headlines, your skills, everything. It is the way we used to go for a professional CV maker. Nowadays, it is essential to you do it with your LinkedIn profile or any other platform.
Right.
You are in.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you really, Samhita, as a recruiter, do you really look into the picture and the header and the about? Do you really look about the?
Yes, I do. Depends again, which position I am recruiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So if I'm recruiting for a creative design, as I am coming from an IT services company, so we hire people with creative ideas, creative designs. We have a product, so we have a huge team of creative designers.
Mm.
So when we hire, I do go for it, and I even look the color selections.
Mm-hmm. Got
so it. This makes your personal branding, right? So
Absolutely.
Whether it is lousy or you are poised, so it comes with your color selection and your kind of profile, your cover photos or DP. So there you cannot use any other social media kind of display picture in your LinkedIn or any other corporate social media DP, right? You cannot use it. So, and how they're even if I'm recruiting for a software engineer, I go to their coding. I see that how they have organized the coding repository, should I say, or the sites, or how they have maintained their project documents. I do look into it. So that is the personal branding. So it shows that how organized they are. And I feel that LinkedIn is making life easier to know the
recruiter. Yes. For everybody, actually. Yeah. Good, great point. Thanks, Samhita, for that. I just want to quickly go on to Chinhita on this particular point, right? If you are a recruiter, would you really go up to, for the students, especially for a student when you are going to the campus or before going to the campus, do you really look at LinkedIn? And if at all, what do you look at LinkedIn so that, they get some message so that they are prepared? Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question. So, not for all. See, if you're going for bulk hirings, that is not a feasible option at all. But if I know I'm going for some specific, people whom I want to, groom, especially maybe MTs or GTs from premium institutes, I do make it a point to go through their, LinkedIn and, understand what are, as Samhita currently pointed out, what are the, posts they are liking, who are their, followers, whom are they following, what is the kind of recommendation have they got in case they have recommended somebody, what is the kind of recommendation. And there is a new tool called Crystal in LinkedIn, which helps you. It is like a psychometric tests, which basically helps you to understand what kind of person that person is. Okay, just click on it, and there is a place called Crystal. You can just go there and just click on it. Apart from that, there are also a lot of other little AI tools which you can use to understand the profile. Of course, 100% is not possible because your personality is something external, what you want to portray to the world. So that is definitely there. But yes, LinkedIn has been a boon, I would say, to all of us. And one of in my mentorship.
When you say all of us, you're referring to the recruiter especially, right? The recruiter
Yes.
gets the power to kind of look at it, evaluate a candidate,
Yeah. And even the person who is getting recruited, he or she is getting the platform to be showcased. That's also important.
Wonderful idea and wonderful thoughts. I think some of the interactions that each one of us have, this is the value that you brought just now on the table. Thank you so much. And Samhita, thank you so much for sharing. Arnab, quick one from you. Any suggestions on LinkedIn as a personal branding? What would you really look at, and how are you recruiting?
The first thing is competency, definitely. And from the profile, it can be judged somehow, not exactly, but somehow it can be judged. LinkedIn profile is one of the major thing because it is a professional platform where the candidates and most of the persons are showcasing their portfolio. So apart from LinkedIn, definitely, apart from the validation and competency assessment, LinkedIn profile is taken care of, definitely. And what the other tools like in Naukri or other job portals, how they have submitted their profiles. So definitely that is mandatory to check for a particular requirement. For bulk hiring, it is not feasible as well as possible also.
Right. No, great. Thank you. I think this point on social branding is so important, especially nowadays where everything is online. And with the kind of examples that all three of you mentioned, right? As a recruiter, what are you really looking into the candidate? Somebody, Arnab, you mentioned about competence. Chinhita, you mentioned about Crystal and a couple of other AI tools that can be used. And Samhita, you mentioned about each of the things that you look at, the header, the picture for a specific roles. And I think beautiful points that came through on the first one. All right, now let's move to the next one. The next one is absolutely related to the topic on recruitment practices. And we know that age-old, as recruiters, we have been hiring folks with a general GD, generally, and of course, the interviews in different rounds, and sometimes psychometric that you do, right? So I'd like to ask, Arnab, this question goes to you first in terms of what's your thought? What are some of the innovative recruitment practices that are currently in play when you're recruiting or hiring as a recruiter and also generally in the industry? Yes.
Definitely. Nowadays, there are a lot of tools we have received thanks to AI and that. So nowadays, there are lots of innovative tools we are getting apart from the traditional tool. We have what you have already mentioned, that 16PF disk and other methods like group discussion, case study, etc. So before that, I would like to add more in AI based, like Proctor enabled few tests done by DoSelect. It is more into technical, some behavioral test done by Harrison assessment. These are few things. Apart from that, from AI based tests and tools like HireView, Interviewer AI, Curve, and My Interview, Recruity, Jobma, these tools are available. And from here, the filtering of the process, because while we are recruiting fresher, there are more application pools, and it is the recruiter's job to filter it out and into that funnel who are filtered, and from them we can go for next level of test.
Got it. So I think beautiful points. I think you mentioned about quite a few things. You mentioned about the proctored enabled assessments. That's
Yes.
something you mentioned. You mentioned about the Harrison test for behaviors, and you also mentioned a couple of other things, which is that in today's world, when there's a bulk hiring or no bulk hiring, whatever, even if it is single, an AI will give you a better results and a quicker, faster results in terms of what you're expecting to know. So that is also there. And of course, it has to be coupled with not just AI, but it has to be also have a human touch, because the entire experience around recruitment is about being human.
Absolutely.
Context, right?
AI can only shortlist. After this, final selection will be done by human.
Absolutely. True, completely agree. And I think you mentioned that the filtering process becomes better, shortlisting process becomes better with the help of tech. That is what,
And it will reduce the hiring time, reduce our TAT.
Yes, the turnaround time gets reduced, and you can, quick hiring can happen. Great points. Thank you very much. What about you, Chinhita? What is your thought?
Yeah, I think Arnab has put down very good points. Another one would be those video resumes which we have, and now I think gone are the days when people share the soft copies. It's more video resumes, and there you have a lot of behaviorally anchored questions, also situation based. So those things I think really helps recruiter and the people manager to understand how these people are good at navigating challenges, collaboration, teamwork, communication. So I think these kind of techniques, this video resume and behaviorally anchored interviews, which would have a situation based questions, and it can be recorded. You don't need to be there live speaking, but even that recording also shows the ways you have been able to record it well, whether there is clarity of thought, whether things are moving, or whatever you're trying to say. Communication, we always say the ability to speak well, but I think communication is if you have a complex idea and you're able to break it into very simple way, and you can give very common examples to people. That is a best communicator. And of course, catering to the audience. Who are your audience? So those kind of soft skills, because ultimately the business is also looking for people who will be future leaders. What is the need for having these graduates? The technical expertise is definitely important, but the next point would be they are looking for people managers and leadership pipeline. So your soft skills are as important as your hard skills.
I have an important question. Is soft skills soft or hard?
Sometimes it is hard. Soft skills are hard.
Thank you. What about
it is very difficult to imbibe it. You cannot learn it. It's not there in the book anyways, that you learn a soft skill. Soft skill is something through your learning, through your experiences. Yes, some part of is definitely the theories you learn, but ultimately when you have to practically do it, it's hard. Soft skills are really hard.
Got it. And Arnab, quick point from you.
I think soft skill is required to be practiced, and definitely with the learning as well as that experiences which involve and which evolve something to expression of thing in a minimized or short time.
Got it. So is it hard or soft?
See, it depends. Definitely it is the gradual improvement is required for each and every one. It is not soft.
It is not soft. Okay, thank you. Samhita?
Yeah, I'll second with both of them. Soft skill, which I find is the finest skill sets in one, and it is the hardest one.
Right. So are we saying, and you can really counter me on this, are we saying that technical is still easy to learn because you learn a particular task and skills and you pick it up over span, you become perfect, but soft skill is behavioral, therefore the behavioral change in a human being takes a long. Is that what you're saying? Anybody?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
mostly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Got
Absolutely,
Got it.
because if you're doing your training needs identification also, or when we are doing the effectiveness of training, we see that technical trainings are easy to, understand whether the person has imbibed those within, X months of time or years, because you have a pre-post maybe training, how the person had the knowledge before the training and after the training. But when it comes to, behavioral trainings, I think all L&D professionals here would agree with me that it is a key pain point. How do you understand the person has become a good leader? How do you understand the person has become, excellent communicator or
Yeah.
a good, people manager? So of course there are ways we can take feedbacks. We can, understand through the psychometric tests, then the performance reviews. But it is still in the Kirkpatrick model. If you go by the third one, behavior,
Yeah.
that is a very difficult thing, and ultimately the ROI. Because after you have the behavior, you have got the behavior, you have to show to the business what is the ROI, the return on, investments, what has been the productivity, the key cost effectiveness. So I think this has been a challenge everywhere. So it is really a tough thing, because
Got it.
gauge that how
Sure.
well you have understood those key soft skills.
Yeah, beautiful points again. I think the reason I double clicked on each of that point on soft skill is because general impression is the soft skill is like, okay, soft skill, it's okay. What's the big deal? But you brought out so well, and all of you actually in the conversation, you brought out that it takes time to transform somebody own self. It takes time for all of us as human being, and then the business has to see some results. It's a mandatory because your business depends on it. So great points. Coming back to the question that I was asking you about your largely the recruitment practices and what are some of the innovative practices. I think both of you shared, Arnab and Chinhita, both of you shared what are those aspects. Samhita, would you want to share one or 2 points?
In my company, we follow a 100% digital HR process, paperless. So what we do when we hire, like we don't hire in bulk, being a technology company, but yes, when we hire freshers, we do follow certain systems online, like video resume, as Chinhita correctly mentioned. It helps. And also we do send out the online exam links. Sometimes it's psychometric, sometimes it's purely technical, sometimes it's a blend. And it helps us to filter out, the absolutely irrelevant profiles or the lower scorers. Then we go for the more relevant and more suitable profiles, and then we go for that. So it helps. And the AI tools, like when we hire people abroad, so the AI tools, it helps a lot to understand their psychometry mainly, and to understand their skills sometime. As Arnab said, the Proctor recruitment system or the tool, it helps a lot.
Got it. Good. Okay. So let's move to the next question. I think one of the other important aspect that we have, and this is especially to Chinhita, we'll begin with you. So some of the skills, and I know you talked about skills, and that's one of the reasons I asked you about, is it soft skill or is soft skill a soft really? And you have clarified in in certain means, without mincing any word, that it is the hardest of all skills. And I believe the same, right? So of course, soft skill is the hardest of all skills. That's what I think. Okay, so what are some of the skills and competencies do you think recruiters really look for? What is your thought, Chinhita?
I think it's a very loaded question. So I would divide it into 3 parts. First part would be the question of the employability of these fresh candidates. Secondly, what are the skill sets? And thirdly, how they can develop them. Okay, I think this would be a more rounded way of, a key holistic view of it. So the question of employability, I was just going through this recent report, India's Graduate Skill Index 2025, where Mercer Metal reveals that only 42.6% of Indian graduates are employable. So it is quite a alarming thing, because this 42% is employable, and the biggest challenge is a widening gap between what the employers need and the skills graduates have. So the need is for every industry and academics is to have the industry academia cross pollination, where there will be exchange of knowledge, research, innovation. And we have a lot of, I love to give examples of how this cross-pollination is already there. It's not something very new. We are already working on it on the global and all the local platforms also. Like Google and Stanford has industry academia cross-pollination, and it helps them to, transform their academic ideas into business goals. Also, MIT collaborates with industries like Samsung, Boeing to develop their futuristic technologies. And if we come to the local, our Indian IIMs have been, quite a proactive academic, fraternity doing it. They are having this collaboration with Tata Group, IIM Calcutta collaboration with Tata Group to understand the leadership and strategic development. Infosys and IIM Bangalore is one of them, which is having on, digital transformation and leadership. Bosch India and IIM Calcutta, which has value-driven innovation. There is another one, Hero Motocorp and IIM Calcutta, they are doing on supply chain optimization. So you see, things are working. Of course, things are, evolving. So, but I see the focus from my standpoint, the focus is more on the IIMs centric. So I think the need is to, emulate these success stories with institutes also, which are not IIMs also. So that would give a more, holistic development. So that's one thing so this is my observation. And when you're talking about, then we come to the next point, as I was saying, what are the skill sets? Now, the most important one I have already talked about is your functional skill. That is the strong functional technical expertise is the core criterion, which we cannot deny anyways. Employers will evaluate if the incumbent aligns with the position they are offering you. So that's one. However, as I said in my previous conversations, even business is looking for people, these graduates, who will be future business managers and future leaders, who will recycle difficulties into opportunities, if I can say. So that's their mindset. So I'll give a very small anecdote. Like my first job with CK Birla Group of Hospitals, I was asked that our department is very IR, IR centric. That is industrial relationships centric, and it's male dominated. You're a woman. How would you navigate it? What's your question? What's your thoughts? So I thought for a few seconds, and nothing was coming into my mind. I was a fresh graduate, this MBA. And so I said, why the society is also male dominated and women are making their marks. Okay, why can't I? So, and I got this job. I was the first lady to be inducted into their legacy personnel department, and I still feel proud of it. And I think what took me in that was my street smartness, the ability to think on my feet. These are out of syllabus. You don't know what they are going to ask. Soft skills are something out of syllabus. So, I think street smartness and diplomacy is very important for any graduate in any field, because you are managing humans who are the most intricate and unpredictable. So we are the most intricate and unpredictable one. Second, I would say the skill sets would be, COVID has taught us adaptability and agility. The ability to adapt, because as Darwin says, it is not the strongest of the people, not the most intelligent, but the people who could, adopt, they are the fittest, survival of the fittest. And from the VUCA world, we have now come to the BINA world, as they say. So I think change is the only, constant, the ability to learn, relearn, and unlearn. This is what agility for me is. So, everything is changing. Now, at the twinkling of an eye, we see everything has changed. The AI has changed so many things. We have so many, spoiled for choices, and we get confused as a consumer in every way. So that's important. I give an example. Deloitte has a very good graduate program emphasis, which emphasizes continuous learning and encouraging new hires to embrace change in very structured leadership workshops. So this is one good example. Apart from that, as I already harped on it previously, was communication. The ability to articulate complex ideas into very simple and day-to-day examples, keeping in mind with your who are your audience, because graduates need to be effective, because they will have to engage with cross-functional teams, present their ideas clearly. So Amazon has this bar raiser program, which ensures candidates are assessed not only on their technical ability, but how they collaborate across the teams. So this is a very good example. Of course, there is another ones like problem solving, critical thinking. These are very important. And one important one I always felt is emotional intelligence, which is very important because we see that IQ doesn't take you to places. It is EQ which takes you to places, because the ability to manage your emotion and the emotions of others, both ways. So, and I think the leadership, the kind of leadership we are going ahead in future is more of leadership with empathy, servant, style of, leadership. Nowhere the autocratic, bureaucratic leadership will work out. So for that, graduates need to have empathy, resilience, and ability to even, align with the organizational values. So for that, I think emotional intelligence is a very important aspect. And I think there are a few emerging skills which I have noted down. I think those, the graduates can, learn artificial intelligence and machine learning basics, which is very important. Data privacy knowledge, which is very important because now the question of ethics are coming into data privacy. Remote work proficiency, because we are dealing with Gen Zs now who want remote work. COVID has taught us the gig economy has evolved, sustainability awareness, because everywhere we are talking about how to be sustainable, how to make a greener world, green practices. Even HR has green HR practices. And last but not the least, I think cross cultural communication, because we are in a global world now. Right now we are speaking so many, global, local audiences are also hearing. So the need for cross-cultural communication in anything is very important. So I think these are the skill sets I think the candidates, the new fresh ones should, imbibe. And I would lastly like to, I think I'm not taking it too long. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying, how can they, develop this? It's very easy to say that I want these from you, but how you are going to develop? So what is the path? I think graduates should be more proactive and, take part in internships, part-time jobs, which might not always be, internships, not part of the curriculum, but outside the curriculums also they can, approach people and take it out. Then they can also, be part of now online courses, certifications are there. They can do a lot of online good courses like Google Analytics, HubSpot certifications. It's very important nowadays. And, network, build your, as you said, your network is your net worth, as we say nowadays. So that's very important. And you can join your alumni in college, join professional groups. Now they have opened, previously there was organizations or forums which were only, restricted to working professionals, but now they have opened it to students as well. I think one of the ways, Toastmasters is a very good platform for, I think, graduates. They can enhance their communication skills. And Toastmasters, I recommend, because I am part of a Toastmaster club. So I always recommend, even if children, it's not only graduates, but, children from the early age, if they learn these Toastmasterings, this also helps you to, evolve your soft skills, the ability to speak. So I think my take, I would say technical expertise is one of the puzzles, and the other part of the puzzle can be solved and the whole picture can be got if we have the soft skills in place, so that people are future ready. That's all for me.
No, I think fantastic. You see, that's why I asked you a loaded question so that I could get a loaded answer, right? So thank you so much for explaining it so well. I think what I liked, couple of things I liked about what you said. See, what you said was around the environment. You said that, okay, how the culture around us, economy around us, trends around us, business trends around us, situation around us is evolving. Your skills are actually have to really match up to those expectations, right? Cultural expectations, change expectations, economic expectations, uncertainty and all that is coming through. So I think you covered well-rounded, and you did mention a lot of skills which are, and the reason for why that is required. So that's important. The other thing you mentioned also about how to ensure that you develop them. And I'm sure, we can perhaps do another session as well on Growth Studio to talk about specifically around this, because it's so important point that you mentioned. But before I go to the next question, let me pick up thoughts from Arnab and Samhita also. Samhita, what's your take? And then I'll come to Arnab.
Yeah, Chinhita elaborately described what we think when we hire as a recruiter, what we think when we hire a fresher. So yes, the skills, I absolutely second her that the EQ part and the new tools, which should be like we were discussing the data privacy part in some other discussion the other week, and the data protection is a threat nowadays. And it's a quintessential part right now over worldwide, because as the business is changing, the trend is changing. We're coming into hybrid, remote. We are sometimes using personal laptops. We're sometimes using, public Wi-Fi. So how to be aware of the situation, how to be safe in those situations. Even our own handsets are not safe. So I don't think that you should wait for your company to give you the training. You should go for a data protection training on your own, and it is again giving you a brownie point in your resume. Being a fresher, if you do a course on data protection, and also for your own safety, and also for the brownie point. And apart from that, AI machine learning is also a good to do the foundation course to have an idea. That is good. And adaptability, the thing which I see most while recruiting, the adaptability and the mindset. Like being a fresher, you cannot be stick with your skill sets or your profile when you're entering a company. And if it's a general profile, or suppose if I say an HR generalist profile or a recruiter profile, you should be open enough to learn cross-functional or cross-departmental roles as well, to understand your organization better, to understand your people better. So the adaptability and the agility is the key.
That's a great point. No, that's a great point. What you said just now is actually real sense, in the sense, because if somebody is joining an organization, the talent has to be fungible. Therefore, if they decide that they're going to stick to one particular area and then learn and not look at the others, it does not help, because they'll have to look at other experiences as well. Beautiful point. Really appreciate that. What about you, Arnab? What's your take?
Regarding this thing, I would like to cite one example. A multinational IT company based out in the office at Hyderabad. A person was working there, and it was a strict instruction that you cannot open your laptop in public places. Somehow, he went to a hospital due to his close relative's illness, and there was an important assignment or important mail to send, and he has opened that computer. Unfortunately, he lost his job without any show cause immediately. So why I have cited this example, because this cyber security is essential, definitely, and it is not about the laptop or thing, because we are all of us are using smartphones. Even smartphones are getting hacked, and the data can be transferred from smartphone. So this security is required whether you are in employment or not, for each and everyone who are using this phone. And most of us, from one survey, I got to know that 70% are not know how to use the smartphone properly. They are not aware of it. And this is number one. Number two, definitely emotional intelligence is required. Another thing is required, that is logical reasoning. Because logical reasoning, it is there, it will be there.
Give me an example, if you can give me a quick example of that.
Like in a situation, emotion is definitely required, but what to disclose, what not to disclose, that maturity should have.
I got that emotional intelligence piece, but what about the logical reasoning? Can you give an example?
Logical reasoning means there are two options. Probably you will get emotionally, then probably you have, like in last example also, you did your work because it was urgent, you need to do that work, but emotionally you are in hospital, but you didn't provide the logic.
Correct. So you're saying logical reasoning and critical thinking, these two, this is absolutely inter-evolved, and that should be there. Good. Thank you very much, I think, Arnab, for highlighting. Let's move to the next question. And the question, of course, is related to about the theoretical learning. So, of course, students they get a lot of solid theoretical foundational knowledge at the university and the institution they study. But there's a gap that we see when they come to the companies. We have seen that their theory is very nice, but practically they don't know how to do. So, Samhita, this question is to you. How can students effectively bridge that? A student also has a role to play, and of course, companies also have a role to play. What's your thought? How can students? Let's talk about that part only. How can students improve that? How they can bridge that, practical
Sure.
skill gap? Yeah.
Sure. So when it comes to the student, see, again, as we know that we are dealing with the Gen Zs right now, and it's all about online, and they're born with gadgets, as we say. So, but again, the blend should be there. And when you are attending a webinar, you should not hold yourself with the webinars only, or the recorded version of any seminar or any webinar or any session or any course or something. There should be human interaction as well, one-to-one or group or whatever it is. The blend should be there, online and offline. And when you, as Chinhita again correctly said, that if it is not an institute organized or a protocol internship, you should go for an part-time job. Maybe sometimes it's not relevant to your exact profile or exact skill sets, but it will give you the experience of human interaction. If it will give you the exposure of industry, how to deal in a corporate industry or anything, like how to deal in a professional life. So you should go and you should learn it from there, and then again come to the mentoring part. Again, I would say that Chinhita brought it correctly, that if you are looking for a mentor, it's not always have to be a mentor thing. The alumni group of your college, I'm sure they must be placed into a good position, or they're doing something, and you have had a good relationship with one of your senior. Why don't you approach them? Why don't you go to them? And why don't you ask for the tips and the guidance from them? Then there are mentoring platforms and there are mentoring options. Then why don't you go and talk to make someone your mentor and go for it? Like it is always better to have a blend. Always, you cannot, as theory cannot be the 100% of your knowledge or your education. You need practical training, and practical training, it cannot be always online. You have to have a blend of practical and online, offline and online both, where the human interaction should be there.
Great
So-
points. I think what you're highlighting and specifying is especially that mentoring is, while you'll go learn something from the online method, but get that also reinforced by somebody who's sitting in front of you in a face-to-face conversation, showing you how to do that. So that's also important. You're also highlighting that network. Check with your, folks who are your seniors in the college, who were earlier, your seniors who are now working somewhere. So great points. I think that came out. Anybody wants to pick up quickly about another 30 seconds or 1 minute? Chinhita and Arnab, do you want to share something around this?
I think there is another option which it's not very common, which is called shadowing. Sometimes if you have a very good connect, industry connects with mentors who are, veteran in that industry, okay, stalwarts. In case they allow you to, one day at office with them, shadowing, understanding those things. So of course that is mostly on your personal networking, but that actually helps. Of course, going forward, you can, when mentoring processes are there are, formalized shadowing processes. But this is just maybe the person has a very good rapport with some, industry stalwart. You can ask, like, how is one day in your office? Something on those lines, shadowing can be done.
Great idea for the audience, especially students who are listening this. So they will do that now, right? Okay. Great. Thanks. Arnab, what's your thought?
See, and one traditional method probably we have touched, but not with that name, that is on the job training. So one job that the expert, how he deal with that job and how the new one. On the job is definitely which can be remembered for lifelong.
Right, right. Very short and crisp. I think you mentioned it very well that something that you learned which you'll never forget. So that's an on-the-job experience. So get as much as try to figure out how to get that online on-the-job experiences. Online, you can connect with mentor, request them, like Chinhita mentioned that request them if one day is possible where we can come and we can visit and see how it works and things like that. I know that many students are already doing that. So great, great. Thank you, Arnab. Okay, let's move to you, Arnab. In the next question really is about how can corporate help? Corporate has a large role to play in ensuring that the skilling part of it is done, right? So can you help us understand how can corporate play a role in skilling, reskilling, upskilling, cross-skilling? Yeah, anything that comes to your mind.
Absolutely. Thing is that now the companies have their goal plan. First of all, each and every year the company is in such a stage, and at the end of the year where they will be, and they have their in a broad aspect that after 5 years what they would be. So I would like to cite an example. Initially, when mobile phone came, it was only a keypad phone. Early, first one was pager, then pager went, came mobile phone, then mobile phone it was into keypad mobile phone. Now you can see how many keypad phones are used. Hardly keypad phones are used, maybe very few, and all are moving into smartphone. So for these changes, there are few things are required, that is skilling. First of all, skilling definitely for each and every improvement, each and every sector, few skill sets are required, and it is required for both, for company as well as for this employees. Then reskilling, how to develop that, upskilling, how to reskilling, and then upskilling, how to improve, getting improved, and cross-skilling. And again, they move to another channel. That's why the companies are there, they are exist, they have not only stick into one business, they are doing multiple business under one umbrella.
Yeah, I like that point. I like what you're trying to convey is that because of technological advancement, because of different companies moving forward one after the other, definitely there is a need for skilling, and that has come through. I like your thoughts on that. How can companies participate with the institute to make that experience available? The skilling and reskilling and upskilling.
Absolutely. First of all, identification of training requirements, training need analysis, and from training need analysis, what type of training is required. There are experts, there are few consultants, they are providing this type of assessment, that what type of trainings are available, and these trainings are required. And from these trainings, skilling and reskilling as well as upskilling, definitely cross-skilling also be done.
Got it. Thanks for that, Arnab. Let me also check with Samhita, you want to share?
Participate into periodical training, from the fresher training to the periodical training, time to time training them, and find out the skill gap. The skill gap analysis after a certain period should be always there. And when you are hiring a fresher, we do give them a 6 months, like in IT companies, we do give them a 6 months or 1 year of probation period where we try to teach them with the specific skill sets. Then if not successful, then we move them into some other technology and we give them a 1 year of time. Then after 1 year, if they cannot perform, we just have to say, let them go, but we give them a 1 year span. But even after that, we should continue doing that skill gap analysis, and then we should do the periodical training, which should send them into the exchange programs where, the different companies are participating. Corporates should also do some research and come up with the need of the art trainings, or, think something ahead of the time, and do provide that on a periodical basis too.
Got it. So here's a couple of things that other organizations do. For example, Arnab, you were mentioning about the EV technology. So ITI institutes, the EV companies are tying up in southern part of the country. They're tying up with the ITI colleges in ensuring that the technology training is provided to the ITI students. That's one of the way. Then there are, technology related to labs, which IBM does, and even, Wipro and other companies also do. Where they spend time with the colleges, equipping that student to kind of an understanding of what comes your way. So they're doing that. there are some incubation centers which has been created where corporate participates in this incubation center and tells them about entrepreneurship. So that's what the participation that some corporates are doing. So, all right, one last question that was there on mentoring. So the question goes to Chinhita. How should a student find the mentor?
I think firstly is the alignment, what the person is wanting, define the mentorship goals. That is the most important thing. Like, what is your mentorship goal all about? You don't want a mentor just like that. You have to understand what is your mentorship goal. Is it for your soft skill building? Is it for your technical, expertise you're wanting a mentor? Or is it for your, cultural alignment? Maybe sometimes people feel that I'm not from this culture. I'm from, India. I've gone to US. It's a new key project. So, cultural, enhancing your cultural intelligence. So what is the definition of it? How do you define your mentorship goals? After you've defined it, now you need to search. There are a lot of ways to search. Maybe your institute will help you to search once you're not on the even within the organization. Once you are there, I think the recruiter plays a very important role over here, helping you to search the right mentor for you, and also mentor. Even from the recruiter's point of view, recruiter will also see the profile of those veterans in the industry who have got record, good track record of mentoring, who are confident, brand ambassadors of their companies. So these are the people who would be, mentors. And I think it should be a structured way. It's not that just pairing up for the sake of it. It should be a structured one with, proper, checkpoints, maybe of, three, quarterly key checkpoints, and understand the key progress, and then evaluate. To go to the next level. It's not that just keep on. And at the end, there should be some reward and recognition also. Or best mentor, best mentee.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chinhita. Samhita, what's your point?
And apart from that, EQ also plays a major role here. When you are a student and you find someone which you find idle, I respect that person and I follow that person, or I feel that he can or she can be they can be my mentor, then I think that you should hear that call as well, and you should approach if they are approachable, and if they are like ready to mentor you, you should approach and you go for it. Because unless, yes, we can help as a TPO from an institute or a student perspective. If I think about the TPOs are there, the faculties are there, they will help you with the process and everything. But unless you are having that feeling from within that, yes, that this person can be my mentor, or I can go under a mentorship under that person, it is not 100% complete. So the EQ plays a major role here. You have to be open enough, or you have to understand that what you are looking for. Definitely.
Yeah, great thoughts. I think by infusing the point on EQ, you really highlighted the matchmaking that can happen between a mentor and a mentee. Arnab, what's your thought?
First, one should understand what he is going to learn. Observe properly. What kind of observation and listening capability with the fraternity or with the employees. Then approach properly. Select the most experienced person in that segment and approach properly with lots of relevant questions. When you will receive the answers from them, it will be easy to select the mentor.
Very cool. Very short, sweet. You mentioned, I like the point that you mentioned about know the how part of approaching a mentor, right? So know how to reach out to your mentor, select the best person. Beautiful points. So with that, I think we've picked up quite a few topics. We talked about branding. We talked about recruitment practices. We talked about, what it takes to really, do mentoring altogether. How can you search a mentor? We ended with that. And the different skills. And we also discovered that soft skill is not soft. All of you unanimously said the same thing. Soft skill is the hardest of all skill. It takes time. You also give guidance to the students and to the community in terms of what they can pick up, in terms of, the various skills that they need to know. I like the point that we talked about the times that we're living today in terms of VUCA world, Bani world, whatever the situations are, and align your skills accordingly, right? Which came through clearly. So thank you very much, everybody. Chinhita, Samhita, Arnab, thank you very much. It was pleasure having you. I think we discussed, I wish we had more time, but I think we discussed so much more. And I'm glad that we are carrying your voice, your thoughts, your perspectives. Thanks for inspiring our audience and our students. So we'll carry your voice to the, through this channel, we'll carry your voice to the mentees and to the student community. Thank you very much.